For all of its hate that it got for including YouTubers who you frankly wanted to punch, Slide Stars, which was released last year, actually had some good gameplay mechanics behind it and some good ideas. They were just a little bit wonky on the execution. And that's what Mickey Storm and the Cursed Mask aims to solve with this kind of reimagining of the same style of game. In here, you play as one of two teenagers who have had their parents stolen and abducted. And you need to navigate around various different water slides and water parks, trying to get to the end as quick as possible, collecting as many power-ups as possible, and not getting hurt. The idea of this is that you're riding your rubber dinghy, and the slides and mazes remind me and evoke a little bit of Sonic the Hedgehog, when you've got everything going in loop-the-loops and there's momentum behind you and it's fast and it's furious. The problem with Slide Stars first time around was that a lot of the levels wanted to be maze-like, and the same is still true of Mickey Storm and the Cursed Mask, but there is more of that fluidity and speed and zenness of where you can do loop-the-loops and all of those kind of things and feel empowered and powerful and like it's cool doing something. And I wanted more of that, and thankfully Mickey Storm and the Cursed Mask provides it. Levels fall into three categories. You've got a standard level, which is you getting from beginning to end within normally a time limit and just not getting hurt. During that time, you'll be collecting lots of energy, which acts as like coins or rings, and you're judged basically on how much energy you've completed the level with. You'll get bonus energy for completing it within a certain time limit, and also however many hearts you've got remaining. And then you're ranked gold, silver or bronze, depending on how well you've done. The second mode is much more of a time trial based one, where you've got gates to pass within say 10 or 15 seconds. This requires you to be much more choosy about what you collect, because you need to hit that next checkpoint, otherwise it's back to the previous one for you to then complete in the next 10 seconds. So it's about knowing how to control your character and gain up that momentum and speed and not get stuck on things. The third type of level is where you're collecting energy canisters, and these levels are less around going left to right or right to left, but they're more mazy and remind me a little bit more of what Slide Stars was first time around. I found these levels to be a little bit more involved though, because you would have switches to hit and various different obstacles to try and get around, and they just felt a little bit more adventurous compared to what they were first time around. One of the big things though that Mickey Storm and the Cursed Mask needed to get right, and did to some degree, is the handling of your characters. And this is around building momentum and making sure that the traversal of the game works. When it's at full speed and you're doing loop-the-loops and you're doing big jumps and you're able to, and you have unlocked your double jump and glide, so you can do a jump, and then press and hold X as I was playing on the PS4, and then you can glide beautifully down, that all works a treat. And it feels rewarding and fresh to play, and because of the way how the game is structured and looks and feels, it does feel like quite a unique and interesting experience. Where the game still struggles, and it did last time as well, is when it's asking you to be much more precise, and this is around doing bounces to get up and down different ledges, timing of certain platforms that come out and then retract and so on and so forth. You've still got a decent amount of predictability about where you'll go, but sometimes I would shoot off like way up into the roof for no particular reason, or sometimes I'd feel like I'd nailed a jump, but then I'd just like bunny hop forward, and I was like, oh, that doesn't feel like that was what should happen. Didn't happen very often, but when it did, it stood out, and it was normally on a really, really precious moment. You also need to constantly rebalance yourself using the bumpers on your controller as well, and that takes a lot of getting used to, and you need to think about it, especially when you're going around faster sections, to build up momentum. One of the things that this does, and it combines with the level design, is that Mickey Storm and the Cursed Mask really encourages you to go off the beaten track and try different things. And colours of slides basically show whether or not you're on like the main path as orange, or if you dive off onto the green bits, that's where all of like the hidden gem bits are. And it's almost like, this is the pro route, try this instead. And I really like that you can do like baseline just flopping along, or you can try for the harder stuff as you go. Another addition to that is key cards. There's 5 in every level. You can try and collect them at your peril. Sometimes they're tucked away in nice hidden places, but it's entirely optional pretty much. So long as you're unlocking and completing levels as you go through them, all of these keycards are just extra bonuses for you as you progress through the game. The one thing I would say though around the level design is that level designs seemed to repeat themselves. A few of the levels, and admittedly there's like 60 in this game, but some of them are the same layout, but you start at different points and enemies are just placed at different locations, or the pickups that you need to collect are in different locations. And especially when you start to see the same things reskinned slightly as you move through the different worlds, I felt like that was spreading things perhaps a little bit too thin for their own good. I also really have to mention that there was a lot of game crashes that took place from World 3 on this game onwards. I'm not sure what was causing it, but it was locking up my PS4 to the point where I had to hard reset. And I run an external hard drive, which means that it has to do all of that reconnecting and finding. So every time it happened, it was costing me hours of personal time that I then couldn't spend playing the PS4, playing this game and trying to review it better. So I was getting very frustrated at that point and chose to park it slightly before actually getting to the end of the game. My intention is to go back and finish it again, but I will probably wait for a patch if a patch comes. The last thing I just wanted to say about this game is that I really appreciated the way how difficulty is handled. You only have to do like bronze on each level to continue on and unlock other stuff, which is great because all that requires you to do is just play the game naturally because you'll collect the power-ups as you go. The fact that the checkpoints are everywhere and you'll respawn quite quickly, even when you lose all of your hearts, it's just for extra points. It's not necessarily a game over and back to the start of either the level or a checkpoint or a tool. It allows kids to be able to pick this up, feel like they're in control and feel like they're doing really well and enjoy the bright and bold and colourful world that Mickey Storm and the Cursed Mask gives. However, if you do want all of those challenges of all the keycard collectibles, getting all of the energy canisters, that kind of stuff, and there's trophies that are related to doing things without wiping out, because essentially if you land on your head or you touch an enemy, you wipe out. So it's tricky if you're going to aim for that. So it's there if you want it, but if you're not interested, you can just have a go playing the game and enjoying it as you see fit. So I'm really pleased to say that Mickey Storm and the Cursed Mask is a step forward from Slide Stars, and it appears that quite a few lessons have been learned, not only around controls but level design as well, to make this format feel more fun and vibrant, speedy and rewarding to play. Just heed the warning that there are game-crashing bugs in the game and that sometimes the controls don't necessarily do what you expect them to do because the physics might either throw you off somewhere or nowhere at all. Written review will be over on highplanegames.com tomorrow. Until then, you guys take care. Bye-bye. Higher Plane Games is part of the Higher Plane Network, a completely independent media outlet supported by people like you. The goal is to create the best possible content that cultivates a richer indie scene for games as well as music and entertainment. To find out more and to get involved, visit patreon.com/higherplane-network. Your support makes all the difference, and in return you'll gain access to bonus content and downloads. Thank you for watching.